Welcome to CHIRON Performing Arts. This concert was presented at the Mark O'Donnell Theatre, October 30th, 2021. Presenting the music of Andrew Rudin, his ephemera, Pages from a Sketchbook, performed by Marcantonio Barone, piano, and Alan Kay, clarinet. The music of Linda A. Marcel, her ANJANA, performed by Gregor Kitzis, violin. The music of Robert Dick, performed by himself. And the music of founder-director of CHIRON Performing Arts, Christopher Kaufman, his string quartet number 1, Freedom, performed by the MOMENTA Quartet. Thank you for listening.
These little pieces, this is a set of 6 short little pieces, and they bears the subtitle Pages from a Sketchbook. And that's because I've always been very intrigued with the sketchbooks of visual artists. I sometimes find it more interesting to see what they jotted down as a way of remembering what they wanted to do later in a more finished piece. I like the spontaneity, and the object of a sketchbook is to capture the immediate impression of a place or an event or a person. And sometimes I like the unfinished nature of the sketchbook more than I do the works that eventually result from it. These little pieces, I was explaining to my friends in the audience here, I wrote for a student at the school where I taught for many years in Philadelphia. This was a student, a clarinetist, who stuck his head in the door as a freshman and said, "Can I play in your ensemble?" And he wound up taking the new music ensemble all 8 semesters in school and became a very valuable member of our group. And I was really indebted to him. And of course, he also became very expert over the years, and he really loved playing new music and the challenge of learning new techniques and what have you. And when it came time for him to give his senior recital, he said, "I want to play something of yours." And I said, "Well, alas, I don't have anything for clarinet and piano, but I felt like I owed it to him." So I remember distinctly, I was in my office, and it was a cold winter day, and I saw out the window that the bus I was hoping to catch had just pulled away from the bus stop at the corner, and I thought, well, it'll be at least another hour before one comes along. So I wrote the opening piece that you'll hear here in about, well, I was almost finished with it when I noticed that, oh, alas, another bus has come, you know, and so I thought, well, I might as well just go on. And I think I wrote both the first and the second movements in that, meanwhile missing 3 or 4 buses, I think. But, so they were also written very quickly, most of them. But the trick is, after I had a fast one, a fast, aggressive one, and a slow, more internalized one, it's like, well, what do I do to add to that? I was determined that the 6 pieces should not be in any way like each other. And like you say, after you've done a fast one and a slow one, and a loud one and a soft one, what do you do? So anyway, that was the challenge. And I thought of them at the time, of course that student gave the first performance, and I thought of them as being not very substantial, frankly. But I didn't reckon on what happens when performers of such expertise get a hold of this music. And it turns out that they're, I think, a little more meaty than I gave them credit for being. So I hope you'll enjoy them and find them spontaneous as sketches. Thanks very much.
Thank you, and thank you for attending this CHIRON performance. I hope you enjoy this piece. I'd like to introduce to you Gregor Kitzis, and I want to thank him for performing this piece today. The piece is called Anjana, and Anjana is from a myth from northern Spain. It's a Cantabrian myth about fairies in the woods, and these fairies give health to the woods and also give health to those creatures in the forest. So you'll hear in this piece, it's a bit modal, it's quasi-tonal, and you'll also hear Gregor's own interpretations of this. I mean, he's worked to create some interesting extended techniques in certain sections that really makes the piece ours together, and that's what I hope for. I also hope that the idea of the Anjana can inspire us and remind us to be committed to our environment, committed to our ecosystem and the planet. So I want to thank Christopher very much for having us, and I hope you enjoy the piece.
Bells for Diz. Diz, of course, is Dizzy Gillespie, and on stage, Dizzy had two very distinctive performance persona. When Dizzy played the trumpet, he stood stock still, and everything went right through the horn. But when he wasn't playing the trumpet, he liked to play these Afro-Cuban bells. And Dizzy was a great bell player, and he, you know, just moved so beautifully. And that persona is the one that inspired this piece.
Piece, which is mine. It's my first string quartet. I call it the Freedom Quartet because it deals with the election of 2016 and other tragedies. For example, my mother died right at that time. She was a political activist, and she passed a few weeks later watching that traumatic, monstrous face going across CNN as she passed. So the first movement is basically an experiment in how intense can you make a piece of music. It's very intense and it's filled with all those emotions. It's smart, furioso and savage and intense, all these kinds of things. But it also has strength and hope, and it resolves in the end, in the last movement. So the second movement is specifically dedicated to my mom. Her name is Anna Filomeno. She's a very fine actress. She specialized in Tennessee Williams, and she was always also a dancer. And back in the day, in the Bronx, in the old days, she was actually Jitterbug champion of New York City 3 years in a row. Right. So the beginning of the second movement begins with what I call a Jitterbug theme. It should be very clear what that is. And then there's lamentation, and those two kinds of music work together and resolve themselves. And then the second part of the second movement is what I think of as like music of the day. In fact, the language of the piece, it has a real mid-20th century flavor to it because that is the time period for the people I was writing for when they lived. So you'll hear one of my favorite tunes by Fats Waller, which is unmistakable. I don't think you have to say the title. Ain't This a Hater, you know that one. And then you'll hear a schmaltzy tune come in. Now this is from those old movies. If you remember Nelson Eddy and Jeanette MacDonald, Prisoner of Love. Well, my mom, and when she was in a good mood, she would run around the house improvising operas. And every time she did it, that tune came in, so it had to be in my piece about her. A happy memory, right? The third movement is called Cosmic Node, and it expresses a kind of spiritual vision, like the time between lifetimes. and you'll hear these ghostly glissandi and like a sound that's like radio static, and then these spirit entities kind of come through echoes of melodies and themes from the earlier part of the piece. And then when I was composing it, I imagined that I was visited by a spirit, the spirit of Donald Erb. If you know Donald, that's quite a thing to experience. He was one of my teachers, great, powerful influence in my life. His daughter narrates one of my audiobooks, you know, it goes on and on. Tomorrow, my family show ends with the Halloween version of his souvenir. He's just a very powerful person for anyone who knew him, you know. So anyway, at that point in the piece is an homage to Donald Erb, and it uses the melody from his, a variation of the melody from his brass concerto with Chicago, which I was present for years ago. Then it was time to transition to the finale. And it turned out just my other teacher, a lot of, you know, what music is about, epitaphy, you know. So it's Carl Husa passed on. Now that wouldn't be a tragedy. He was like 97 and had one of the most fullest, most successful, happy lives you could imagine a composer to have. But he just transitioned into the next world. And so I had to transition, you know, musically from the kind of music it was before to the finale. And he wrote, everyone here knows probably, composers at least, he won the Pulitzer Prize for a piece called Music for Prague. And in that piece, he used a tune called O Ye Warriors of God, which, now this piece, Music for Prague, why I felt it's particularly appropriate to transition into the finale was it was when he wrote a piece about when the Russians took over his country. And the finale of the piece is a wild rendition of the national anthem, ours. So, see you at the end.